Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. So, there's been a lot going on in this past week. Not necessarily in sports. There were things going on in sports, but I'm talking about my personal life. I got my wisdom teeth taken out, so I don't know if you'll notice, but today I'm a little loopy. Not completely in it. That's why I definitely had to have a guest today. This is Shant. Say what's good, Shant.
What's good, everyone?
So there's some drugs. Had a couple of drinks a little earlier today, so that's probably not the best combo. But yeah. So
Frozen Mars.
Yeah, definitely lost some weight with those giant wisdom teeth that they ripped out of my face last week. That was ridiculous. But other than that, everything's been pretty good. We'll try to get through this without any issues. But yeah. So in this past week, the Bruins, to start off. They didn't do much. They had a couple, at least one postponed game because the Sabres, Buffalo Sabres, haven't been able to keep things together up there in upstate New York, and not much of a surprise. But so there's some COVID problems. So that game was postponed, and with the way the NHL has been operating this season, I know I mentioned it before. There's not a lot of variety in the schedule. It's just you're playing the same teams pretty much over and over again.
Make that new divisional system.
There's you're only playing in your division to try to keep everything under control, even though things haven't been under control whatsoever. So the only game I believe since last recording was against the Islanders, and the Bruins finally lost in regulation.
They've been on a hot streak.
Yeah, they were one of, if not the hottest teams in the NHL for a little while there. So that was interesting to see. They lost. I mean, it's not the end of the world. The Islanders aren't an awful team, so it's not like you lost to the Devils.
Exactly.
Who they're actually playing tomorrow. Actually, I think, are they playing tomorrow? Because I know the Devils are having issues too. We'll see. I don't know if these games can get postponed at any given moment, so it's kind of ridiculous, but. I don't really have too much to say. I know I want to talk about the Bruins more and more, but all I can really have is praise for them. The goaltending's been tough. Tuukka's been a little rough. It's the offense has definitely been carrying for sure.
Is playing really well.
Yeah, Pastrnak coming back was huge. They were already doing well without him, and he came back and basically didn't miss a step, didn't miss a beat, however you want to say it. So I think Tuukka definitely needs to pick it up a little bit more because goaltending's been rough overall. I do fantasy hockey, so it helps me keep track of some stats. A lot of goalies have been pretty average this year. It's been a rough goaltending landscape in the NHL this year. So he's not alone.
Didn't make a move beforehand.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to move Tuukka. Just this contract is kind of outrageous.
Yes, exactly.
For what his age is and how he's been performing lately. But there were the rumors, but. If he can step it up with Halak has been pretty solid. So I know their defense isn't what it was because I've mentioned it before. You lose Chara, you lose Krug. It's tough.
But they're still looking okay, sustainable. So they're playing, I think, really well.
They've been a great team. So if they keep beating up on these, that's the thing. You beat up on these teams in these divisions, the top teams in each of these divisions. You just keep playing the same teams. You beat them up. You eventually have to play.
That's what I was
other
gonna
teams
get into.
In the playoffs. Yeah,
I was gonna say the playoffs is gonna really kind of scary for all teams, not only the Bruins, because it's you're playing no other team. You may watch all the film to play against them, but they're watching your own film, so you're never gonna have that experience playing against them. You don't know how to tactically play against them. It's gonna be tough for most teams,
right,
when it comes to that time, playoff time.
Right, but funny story you were telling me before. Yeah. Someone they did a bet. They never really bet, but they made a bet.
Yeah, they put in a $10 bet. They went in a couple games of NBA. We'll talk about later. And then she's a Habs fan, and she decided to put money on the Bruins against the Islanders. And unfortunately, that was the only game she missed on her parlay and lost it. But,
that's rough.
I told her never bet with the Bruins if you're not from here.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't bet on the Bruins in general if you're a Habs fan. That's a big no-no, I'd say. I don't know how other people from even from Montreal would really feel about that. So as a Bruins fan, don't I wouldn't touch them anymore. Also, I mean, even betting as a Bruins fan, they've never been that reliable. It seems like every time you think you know what they're gonna do, they do something else. So that's rough. But again, I really do want to talk about the Bruins more, but there's only so much I can say at this point. It's still kind of early in the season. They're on a tear. The most I can criticize, again, like I said, is the goaltending. That's really the most I can criticize. And Tuukka is Tuukka, so you never know. He could blow up. Right, he could turn it on whenever and get a couple of shutouts here. And I know they're trying to do a split. A lot of teams are. Yeah, they're trying to rest their main goaltender this year. It's just a weird year, and it's completely understandable.
I wonder if Halak goes off or has a couple good games, good halves, if Tuukka will step up his game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The competition could definitely be their main drive. That's probably the best case scenario for having two goalies that are pretty good, if not starting caliber goalies. But anyways, keep going, Bruins. Like, I don't know what to say. I really don't. Like,
it's kind of mind-boggling.
I want to know what to say. Someone tell me what to say about this team. Like, I don't have my eyes on anyone to trade for. That's like my thing. Like, looking for trades, looking for free agents. But I don't know. I haven't been able to see other teams come in here or on TV where the Bruins go there and play these other teams to say, oh, I want that guy on this. Because I feel like that's half of what it is.
And then, like, all the good players so far I see are, like, locked in their team. Like, they're their cornerstones. So
franchise,
those players aren't going to move either.
Right. So we'll get there at some point, especially if they start maybe falling off, they hit a wall. Because, the window on this team is closing. Some of them are reaching certain ages. They already let Chara go, so they figured, his time here was over. Some of the other guys are going to get there at some point. Bergeron's mid-30s. Marchand's early 30s. Pasternak is on a different timeline.
Yeah.
So, I think they're trying to win. Everyone's trying to win, but they're trying to win on this, like, timeline. And they mention it all the time in other sports where, it's kind of like you heard it a lot with the Celtics when they're like Jaylen Brown's in rumors and you can't trade Tatum, but you can trade Jaylen Brown. And it's for a guy that's like in his late, like for James Harden, the rumors. Well, the timetable for Tatum and Harden isn't the same. So, it's not as close as, so it's kind of like, goes like that with the Bruins. You need to like get guys that are, Krejci's up there too in his 30s. The two young cornerstones are Pasternak and Charlie McAvoy.
And the way to look at it is like, I guess not only for hockey, but other sports too, you don't only necessarily look at age anymore. It's more like their prime. Right. Because primes for most players are like shifting. Some people hit their prime later, and some people hit it earlier, and they stay longer in their prime. Right. So it's it happens.
Yeah, and there's abnormalities. These guys a lot of these guys play until like they're 40 if they really want to. Like, I don't know if Bergeron's gonna do that because this guy seems to have like major surgeries after the end of every season. So that has to catch up to you at some point.
But he's still kicking.
Oh, yeah, he's been. That's been one of the best lines, if not the best lines in the league. Every year for the past 3-4 years, they're killing it every year. You just need the rest of the offense, which it has been doing. You need the rest of the offense to keep up with that and score. And it's so far it's been good. And the defense it's been outmatching the defense. The defense hasn't been amazing. And that's going to happen, like I said, losing the guys that you lost. The goaltending hasn't been amazing. The offense has just been putting the team on its back. That's if everything was clicking all at once, there really wouldn't be any. We wouldn't be 10 minutes in right now. It would be 3 minutes. Like, all right, moving on. Like, so just keep it going. I'll have some guys to look out for in possible trades. Again, Don Sweeney just reminds me so much of Danny Ainge when it comes to trading that I feel like ever since that Rick Nash trade a few years ago, it's just we don't I don't know if he's going to give up another first-round pick. He had to give up last year's to get rid of David Backes on his team. So
I wonder what the players are talking about in the locker room.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's the thing too. The players, like being able to make a trade in the season, you know how long you're gonna have to wait. There already was a trade.
Exactly.
Patrick Laine for Pierre Dubois, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. They were already swapped, and it felt like both guys didn't play for almost 2 weeks.
Exactly.
So that's really rough to put onto a team, especially if you give up someone of value.
It has to do with the COVID situation too. They have to,
That's exactly
and then
why.
screen the physical as well to make sure
Right.
stuff as well.
So that adds another complex, part to everything.
They'd rather not tend to go for a trade then sometimes.
Yeah. So but that can be frustrating. So
impacts the chemistry.
Right. As a fan, you want to see it, but
exactly.
I also get it at the same time. But moving on, Celtics. We already mentioned them a little bit. Oh man, this is the exact opposite. This is why I don't want to neglect the Bruins. I don't want it to seem like that because I'm talking about the Celtics more and maybe more passionately. But they're just, I think I explained this to someone either yesterday or the day before. I was texting back and forth with a friend of mine about the podcast and the videos. Why are you talking about the Bruins as much? I'm like, I talk about the Celtics more because, one, yes, there is more of an outreach.
The audience is bigger.
Right, for NBA and even NFL, and I wouldn't say baseball, but those first two, yeah. The other thing is, I do, and I don't know, you can say what you want, I do a way better job at criticizing when it's time to criticize than praise when it's time to praise because it's so much easier.
It's normal.
It's like the Felger and Maz mentality.
Exactly.
Like, it's tough, but
there's more to criticize for the Celtics.
Oh, jeez.
What are we, 14-13 after the last night?
Yes. Yeah.
Now we're playing the Hawks tonight at 7:30.
Yeah, it's a back-to-back. That game's starting soon. It's a home game. They're on a home game stretch. Oh, they play them back-to-back home games. The next one's Friday.
It seems like these home games, like with the COVID situation, these home game stretches, these away game stretches, they're actually being very impactful in positive and negative ways.
Yeah,
Seems
it's basically the opposite of the NHL.
Exactly.
You're still playing everyone at least once. They're only missing 10 games, and it's within your division. It's literally the exact opposite. Fine. Yeah, it's like unnoticeable almost.
And some places you're getting the crowd, so you get the effect at home too in a way.
The Jazz I can take. I think the last recording was on the night of the game against the Jazz because it's 10 o'clock. So
don't speak of that game.
I mean I get it. Like, that's a team. I said it then. I'm not upset about that loss. I can accept a loss like that. I can't accept a loss against the Pistons and the Wizards. I can't.
We already got blown up by them, and then we got killed again.
Yeah. So it's just like this team. It's been a roller coaster this year. You lose to the Jazz. So all right, I'll go back a little bit more. You beat the Warriors, and you're kind of dusting yourself off. You had that tough loss against the Lakers. Again, another loss.
That was a good game, though.
Right, it was. You can take that loss. It's the Lakers. You probably should have won that game because
low-scoring game, too.
Yeah, pretty low scoring. But, Kemba should hit that shot. There's shots that were, you could probably say that for the Lakers, too. This guy should hit this shot, whatever. That's a game I can take for a loss. Warriors, you go in there, you beat them, great. Like, that's cool. I like beating the Warriors.
Steph.
Right. It's a good look. Then you lose to the Kings.
Yeah.
Not a good look at all.
With a subpar team, bro.
Right.
Then it's like De'Aaron Fox I know he's playing out of his mind, but you're allowing Harrison Barnes to play really good, and Buddy Hield was subpar that game.
Right.
And they put up, I think, over 100 that game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, both teams, 116, 111. Then you don't have Jaylen Brown, and you go in and beat the Clippers. And I don't think you had Kemba that night, or did you? I actually, no, I think they did. But you don't have Jaylen Brown. That's your second best player.
Let me tell you something. This is what I've been saying. I told some of my friends during the summer, we're sitting outdoors just talking. I made a huge thing. I made a huge fuss. I said, everyone's on the Tatum, bandwagon, Me, you know how I am with my preferences. I love my two-way players like Kawhi. I said from the get-go, Tatum is like our offensive superstar. Nothing against Tatum. I love Tatum. But Tatum has no defensive game. His IQ is very subpar. And for me, I made a claim for this season. Brown, either if Tatum's on the court or not, he's going to excel. And look at him. I think he's going to finish above Tatum in the All-Star voting. He's playing amazing defense. He's playing amazing offense. He can distribute the ball. And I've been just seeing Tatum take ill-advised shots. And
Yeah.
it's not really looking good. He's looking like Kyrie when we had him shooting with like 15 seconds left on the shot clock, just chucking it forcefully, not making that extra pass. It's getting under my skin when you watch it.
Yeah, I was about to say everything you're describing about Tatum. I was actually gonna say it sounds like the Kyrie effect.
Exactly.
I know they were like buddies when Kyrie was here. Tatum, it's just if he doesn't start. The thing I've noticed, it's not necessarily like his IQ thing. It's kind of like an ego thing. I feel like
It is. It's like that Kobe comparison.
Yeah,
you know?
it's just if he doesn't get he's not gonna be happy. Like he seems like it's one of those
But
guys.
it seems like if with him with the he needs the ball to produce. Brown doesn't need the ball necessary to produce.
But I'd say Jalen's probably a better catch and shoot player for sure. Yeah,
Like he's been hitting those 3 balls.
yeah.
And then
Jalen's been great.
one thing I really love is that you may agree with me.
Mhm.
The NBA has gotten soft, not in regards to like the refs making calls. That's obvious. But Jalen can get to the hoop at ease. Yes, he's more athletic than Tatum, but the ease he gets to the basket, like he makes those one-step moves, makes people bite in one way. He gets to the basket with ease and ones and everything, and he's always hot. There's games where he's like shooting subpar by like halftime. He's maybe shooting 30, 35%. But in the second half, he picks it up and with Tatum on the court, which tells you a lot about him.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a comparison to be made. It's like starting to. I mean, they've both been great.
Yeah.
I'll take 25, 26
who's
point
better or not.
scorers. Yeah. I most improved player of the year, Jaylen Brown. I would
Good
say
conversation.
so
Mount,
right now.
But another thing I'm seeing is that $40 million, right? That was a contract a year for Tatum, right?
I think it was approaching that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 39 a year approximately.
That's gonna kick in next year,
Sure.
I believe. Yeah.
And Brown's contract signed either last season or season before was at around 29. And to be honest with you, the big problem I'm seeing down the line now, and I'm going kind of in the trending towards the future, when Kemba's done here, we have a huge problem. You need them both to keep this team alive, and they're like probably the next biggest like combo. Like they're deadly,
Mhm.
and you can't lose one of them just to be selfish to keep one. I don't know if they're gonna work something out the contract, but they both are making like a case to be paid.
Yeah, I mean, by that time that you're talking in the future, they'll be making their money. You can still get like a third star, but it is going to catch up eventually. But you have to hope by that time, like these guys have taken an even further step. Like Tatum is like top 7 player in the league by then. Hopefully, like that's what you hope for.
I hope
Jalen's
so.
like top like 15. Like that, you have to like they have to.
So that's what I'm saying.
Like it's
That's what I'm saying.
necessary.
So if we see Tatum as a top 7 player by then in the future, like let's say in the next 2 to 3 years,
Mhm.
I see him as more of like a better offensive player.
Yeah.
But Jalen as a top 15, you see him more as like I said, like a Kawhi. He's not very going to be a Kawhi, but he's got that defensive mindset. He hustles. He hustles, man. And what it seems like, not to change gears, but a big missing piece. And we knew he's that guy, but smart, the defensive anchor. He's making a huge impact being off the floor.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely something to take notice of because you mentioned him, about a minute ago. Kemba Walker is he's not what's the term I'm looking for? Dragging his own weight, whatever. I guess.
But
Like,
I have a big thing when you listen to Felger, Maz, Zoe,
yeah,
the Beatle, and etc. Right, and just like the Boston Celtics fan club, right around New England, their biggest hate and criticism is against Kemba. And this is like 2 weeks ago when he first came back. I'm like, hold up, this guy hasn't played in 8 months? He got injured. He didn't play for the first month.
well, he played in the bubble. I wouldn't say it was 4 months.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Off
He took some
season
time
is like
off.
a huge gap.
Yeah, he didn't
But
grind in the
people are
off season.
forgetting
He
that
couldn't.
He's not Donovan Mitchell. He's not Dame. He's not Curry. He's like your Chris Paul type of player on the team. You know what I'm saying? Not talent wise, but he will give you a consistent 15 to 20 points a game, and he will help you spread the floor. But people are criticizing him too quick. You need to let the guy get in the enroll.
Let me just cut in
Yeah.
right there. He's supposed to get you that 15
exactly.
to 20. He hasn't been really. Well, he kind of has been, but it
Here and
takes
there.
like almost 30 shots, and he's missing way too
Way too
many of these shots. I mentioned it last time. I really don't want to see this guy become the next like Hayward on this team.
He doesn't deserve that. He's just way too talented.
It's just,
But also
you know,
the Celtics scheme. I don't want to jump into Brad criticizing Brad, but once you got Kemba on the field, right, on the court, the way he gets to the like under the basket, he's at ease. Like he gets to the basket really well. He's small, but I would see him take shots underneath the hoop, ill-advised, and people would freak out and they'd be like, bad shot, whatever. I'm like, yeah, it's a bad shot, but once you're under the basket and there's 5 seconds left, what are you gonna do? Because they're not helping him spread the floor. When Kemba's attacking the basket, no, you're not spreading the floor. Tice has been shooting outside. He's been hot from 3. I forgot what game it was. I think it was against the Jazz or it was against the Pistons or something. He was 5 of 6 from 3. In that game, Kemba had a good stat line. He was like 40% shooting. He had like 15, 20 points, but he had like 8 assists. And that's what you need to do to get Kemba going. You have to give him space. Like, if you give him like that IT status, get him to screen and roll, he can pop up and shoot those threes and like tough shots.
yeah,
And he's proven that.
I just don't want to see the 1 of 12 and the 4 of 20 from the field anymore. I like, because again, I like having him on this team. It's more so the money than the player. Like if he can't play like this, making 32 to 34 or whatever $1 million a year it is. Like you're quickly going, especially in Boston, you're very quickly going to get criticized. They're gonna come after you. They did it to Hayward. Like
now
I said,
he's killing it.
He's not. Yeah, I mean,
Hayward's killing it over there.
he better be. He better
He's
be.
killing it.
He's making $30 million a year. They look at the contract they got. He better be. If he wasn't, oh man, he better be killing it down there. But it's just, he again, he's not gonna be like Kyrie. He's not. He's a good teammate. He's a good guy. I can't necessarily say the same thing about Kyrie. I'm not gonna say he's not a good guy. I don't know if he's a good teammate.
He didn't help the locker room.
Yeah,
Kemba's more of a leader.
Yeah, for sure.
He has that UConn swag on him, you know, carrying like that, like mojo. Like he has that like capability, and I kind of like it. I think we forgot that last season when Kemba wasn't playing or when Kyrie was here. What was the biggest talk? There was fights happening in the locker room, man. Smart, Jalen, Tatum.
Yeah, there was
like going
shaky
at each
things
other.
going on.
You know, like since Kemba's been on the scene, it's like it's quieted down those like locker room stuff, those like behind the scene fights.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think it's for now time to put Cardiac Kemba on hold for a little bit. I need to.
I don't know. We have to see.
I need to see him come back. I'll give him the rest of this year because the knee thing is like major. That that you take away a player's knees, and especially a point guard like that,
and you lose a lot. Explosive either. That's the thing. So you lose more.
And it's not like they exactly knew what they were doing, with taking care of his knees.
Yeah.
The guy got stem cell injections. That's basically like, let's do it, see what happens. Like
it's an experiment.
Yeah. So the guy's experimenting with his knees at this point.
He's 30, right?
I think he's 30.
28 or 30. But like,
yeah,
I think
he's
like,
30.
He's towards the end of his like prime, his prime.
Yeah, he's on the back end. It's just tough to see. It's just again, it's the money. Like, he's making it's. You don't want to see that with a guy making that money.
If you remember talking, right? So about Kemba, like maybe they'll ship him out real soon after his contract's up, but we'll see what happens. But man, Danny Ainge, I guess like we discussed this. We went through like 10, 15 years worth of draft picks outside of the lottery picks.
Right, I remember
we
that.
discussed what was happening. It was like awful picks. But to be honest with you, you pick your first rounder, Naismith, and he hasn't really seen the floor. But you put out Pritchard there, right? And I'm not trying to hype up Pritchard, but when you watch the game, right, Pritchard is like a different animal. Like, I can't wait to see him develop, and hopefully he sticks around the team. That he's small, but that defensive presence, like against Donovan Mitchell, he had like a couple like closeout blocks, and the ref just gave him like the all-star, treatment and gave him a foul. But this guy's bodying up people, like chesting them, beautiful defense, and like. I really have high hopes for Pritchard, and he can shoot, but he's small.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he can fill the shoes.
Right, he plays like those 4-year players that you see come into the league sometimes, and his ceiling. I've said it before. His ceiling is
lower,
not as high. I'd say for me, Naismith, I'd say is higher. It's not you got to go back, and he's very raw. You got to go back and look at Jalen. He played. I remember
he was hated.
He averaged like 7 minutes a game his first season.
Man, he was hated by everyone in Boston.
Yeah, because they wanted other people
Exactly
in that pick. But
And
look
it
at him
paid
now.
out.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I didn't hate the pick, but I wanted Jamal Murray. I remember.
That'd been
Which
dirty.
also wouldn't be a really bad pick as of right now. But
Floor
as of
general.
you're taking, this team's in a different scenario if you take Jamal Murray instead of Jaylen Brown.
And I guess it's needless to say, to kind of like move on with the Celtics, is where's this big man?
Yeah, so
Robert Williams, really? People are hyping him up 8 points and like 5 steals. So what?
He's not
a big man.
the thing is, he's not going to do that every night. But either way, like just breaking down this team again, they lose. They beat the Clippers like that. They lose to the Suns. They lose to the Jazz. I can accept the Jazz. The Suns I can take. They've been a surprisingly really good team. But I thought they were going to be good, but not this good.
Neither did I.
They've been a good team.
We made our rankings together.
Yeah, you beat the Raptors. Who, they've underwhelmed, but it's still the Raptors. Then you lose to the Pistons and the Wizards back to back.
Twice.
Yeah, and then you beat the Nuggets. Good
Okay.
win. Good win.
Good win.
You got to see how you do on this back to back. They haven't done well
They haven't done well at all
on back to backs, but you got to see what they do. And I don't know if you saw it. I think actually I did mention it. There's rumors going around. I saw a couple. One was Andre Drummond.
Yep.
He's being shopped around. I've mentioned it before, how much I really want him here.
We messed up last year.
What do you
Not grabbing him.
You think so? So here's the thing. I've said it before. It takes two to tango in a trade. I'm sure everyone says that, or a lot of people do. So I'm not the only one, but you would have had to traded them Hayward.
I would have been fine with that.
But would they have been fine with that?
Probably. Look how their team is going. Imagine right now with Garland, Sexton.
Well, we're talking about Detroit.
Oh, you're talking about Detroit.
Yeah.
I was talking about
because the Cavs wouldn't have traded him last. You couldn't have traded for him. That's where he went.
Yeah.
So Detroit, you get John Henson a second, and who was it? I don't even remember. I don't even know if they're on the
Luke
team
Kennard?
anymore.
No, he's not
I
there.
think it was Brandon Knight. I think it was Brandon Knight.
Irrelevant.
Yeah, so it was just money filler. And maybe in their minds, Gordon Hayward, too much money. They're trying to rebuild. They don't want to focus it on the
They've been in
player
this
like
rebuild
that.
stage forever, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're just one of those teams where it's like I said it with the Kings. When you lose to the Kings, it's the Kings. Why are you losing to this team right now?
Yeah.
But anyways, it's just it was a lot tougher last year than it is this year. You can go in there. You can use a trade exception. You already missed out on Derrick Rose, which I'm upset about. I really wanted him on this team.
We're missing a one bench player. That's what it is, too.
Yeah.
Other than a center.
Yeah. You need like a legit scoring sixth man. I know Smart. I'm not saying Smart's a scoring sixth man, but he's a sixth man.
But he's your defensive anchor and team morale.
Right. You need a guy that can come in when he misses time. Pritchard is great.
He's growing.
Right. But he's not that guy you can rely upon right now. So I don't know if they're going to jump on this whole Drummond thing. I heard the Raptors are in. I heard a couple other teams are in.
I saw some like weird, grimy discussion like earlier on, like maybe a month ago, before Miles Turner started popping off. They were looking at Miles Turner and they messed up. Now they're gonna ask for more. Like the Indiana's been more hesitant. He's been playing really good ball lately too.
Right. That was the whole Hayward thing around when he was getting traded or trying to figure out where he was gonna sign.
Yeah. It's getting really like there's no more big men left.
Yeah. You could try maybe for Oladipo. The Rockets have thought,
you don't want
talked
that
about him.
Injury.
I saw Harrison Barnes. I don't really want that contract on this team. You could use another wing, I guess, but
he can still ball.
Yeah, but that's a multi-year, mid $25 million. Yeah, no, I don't really want that.
Somehow the Kings are okay with that.
Yeah, I want a big man. I know it's tough because he's probably, if not guaranteed, to walk after this year because it's a one-year deal. And I don't know if you can retain him or how much money he's going to want, he would want. But and everyone says, oh, Drummond, you don't know if it's going to work. They don't like his defense. He has like the numbers, but like it's like, okay, cool. He gets 15 and 13. He averages 15 and 13, but you give up like over 100 points. Well, what's happening now? What's happening right now? That's Robert
the biggest
Williams.
Thing.
Yeah.
Like the Celtics, the biggest thing we haven't seen, like Perkins was in a legit center, okay? right back then.
I mean, for the time,
yeah,
for the
but-
time, putting him next to KG, yeah,
But
for the time.
you know, like around then, right? You saw Perkins. He like kind of worked it out some stuff, but we need like a legitimate center.
Yeah.
You don't need a shot blocker anymore in this NBA underneath the hoop that much. She can work with it, but we are lacking rebounding, and
Mhm.
that's been the story since Perkins left and KG left the team.
Yeah.
We haven't had that guy.
I don't want to hear like, oh, he doesn't help spread the floor. He's not a shooting center. You always have a guy on the court that can't shoot at this point. The way this team is
And
currently
it's
built.
okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Look at the way you might as well go in with a guy that's an all-star caliber player. You know, like it's just, you have Tristan Thompson who, you know, he's a solid rebounder, but he can't shoot. He can
he's
knock down
scared to shoot.
he can knock down a three like maybe once every 20 shots.
And he's
like,
passing up easy shots too, I see.
yeah,
So
I mean, he's not the
teammates
guy.
leave.
That's the thing. Like, I shooting is I'm just trying to like
Yeah.
make the point of anyone that says any detriment against Andre Drummond, it doesn't make any sense because you're dealing with guys that do the same thing, but they're lesser caliber players.
Like, look, right? You know who the biggest like example of that is?
Mhm.
Like Jokic, right? Jokic. Amazing offense, playmaker, point, center, right? No defense,
Yeah,
right? But that team, unfortunately, they're lower end of the table. I think they're 6th or 7th right now. But
yeah, they had a rough year so far.
last year they showed that they can play with that, like with a lack of defense. Their team is not that defensively gifted. Our team is actually, if I'm not mistaken, top rated, like top 5 in defensive rating.
Yeah,
Even with Tatum when Tatum was out and etc. So if Drummond, if like the big question is how is he going to affect our offense and maybe our defense because you can't stretch the floor, it doesn't matter. You may as well take a gamble.
yeah. It's an upgrade no matter what, and you're not giving up, like you're not breaking the bank.
Exactly.
And I think, honestly, the guy, because of the way they've been, Brad's been running lineups, these big lineups, like consistently all
I'm
year.
shocked, to be honest.
Well, if you want to do that, Drummond at the 5, you know who benefits the most, if anything? Tice at the 4.
Or
You don't
he
have
can
to.
spread the
The
floor.
poor guy gets fouled out. It seems like almost every game he's the most fouls called on him in the NBA. I saw that stat. He's always like looking around at the refs every time. You don't have to
He
have
is unlucky.
You don't have to have Tice in the middle anymore. Now you can like spread him around. He can shoot. You don't have to have him under the basket most of the time on offense. He doesn't have to play center.
And I
he's
can
not.
trust
He's not
him
a center.
shooting,
He's
too.
a 4. Tice. Yeah, he can shoot. That's the point.
He's like he's a reborn Nowitzki. Not as good, but like he has some of those attributes.
Yeah, I mean,
The German connection.
I think you can maximize players like that when you bring in a guy like Drummond. That's just my opinion. The other guys I've heard so far, like Harrison Barnes, I'm not interested in. Oladipo, you can get me on board with coming off the bench. Maybe actually no, he'd be starting probably. To have Smart come back off the bench, but they got to make a move because these games that they're losing, I know
it's a lack of
just
a bench,
yeah. It's just you got to get in the playoffs. You got to get in the playoffs.
but that's not enough.
Let's get there.
Yeah.
No. It is enough. Like, get in the playoffs and see what happens from there. But we got to get there because you can't get there if you're losing teams like the Wizards and the Pistons and stuff. Like, it just makes no sense.
No, that's what I'm saying. Getting to the playoffs, yeah, cool. We got
Yeah.
the playoffs, but it's not enough. Clearly, we saw last year. That's not enough.
Yeah.
We lost to a Miami team. Yes, okay, whatever. Bam, Jimmy Butler. But, like, that team was not more talented than our team, and we're a better coach.
Yeah.
So we got outplayed. So that's what I'm saying. We need an additional piece. But interestingly enough, I saw trade rumors, not to the Celtics, but around. Malik Monk, okay?
Included in something, yeah. I think I saw him included in a potential package for Drummond. But
Yeah. So I would be honest with you, right? Malik Monk got drafted, kind of shady. No one really trusted him.
10th pick, he was out of Kentucky. Was he Tatum's draft or Jalen's draft? I think it was Tatum's.
I
Unless I'm
think it was
mistaken.
Jalen's or Tatum's.
Yeah,
Tatum's.
I think it was pretty sure it was Tatum's. Yeah, because he hasn't gotten paid yet. I think he's
Yeah.
up after this year.
But
anyways, yeah,
he was
go
a
ahead.
little people weren't a big fan of him, but highlight reel player, dunk, high flyer.
Yeah.
But lately, if you've been following the NBA, he's been showing up on your Bleacher Report highlights on
He's a good
Twitter.
spark plug.
And, we need that spark plug offensively.
Yeah,
And I know he's undersized, but you're not paying up that much. You're not going to lose anything. Why not give it a gamble? And maybe if he ends up doing good, you keep him around. Why
yeah,
not?
that's a good option to.
And
bring
I'm
in.
sick and
Yeah.
tired of everyone getting on the Semi Ojale. Okay, the guy decided to throw up a couple threes, make them in. Okay, I went a bunch of NBA games before COVID started. I'm watching Semi Ojale live. Oh my god. Oh my God! Like, please don't preach to me about Semi Ojeleye. Our bench is awful.
Yeah, it
needs help.
It's a rough scene. They're undersized. They can't shoot really that much. And one thing that I just reminded myself. I don't know what brought this back. How the hell do you not have Enes Kanter like do well here? Look at what he's doing in Portland.
He's eating.
He had 21 rebounds. Was it either last night or the other night? Where was that here? Why wasn't he playing? Why can he do that here? I don't understand.
Because you have Tyson Robert Williams.
I know, but it's like but it's just like you couldn't have like shown a little bit of that while you were here. Like I'm not directing it at him. I'm not directing it at him. I'm directing it at the lineup making. Yeah. And it's just like, why wasn't the guy playing in the playoffs? It blew my mind.
You know what the problem is? It comes back to what you said about big man, right? About Drummond. He's purely offense. There's nothing defensive minded about Kanter, but he will get you the boards. Those missed shots, like let's say from Kemba, right? If let's say it goes 2 of 14 in a game in the playoffs, right? At least with Kanter there offensively, he will clean up maybe 4 or 5 of his shots, and like that's missing. And like you said, the game plan was really flawed around him.
Yeah, at worst, Kanter's like tenure here, whatever the 1 year he had here, it should have been what like Tristan Thompson's doing right now. He's averaging a double-double. Like they're very similar players. He's bigger than Tristan Thompson, but it should have been at the very least that, if not better, because he can at least like I'd say Kanter's probably a little bit more of a scorer than Thompson.
He's got a post game around the hoop. He's got a fancy touch around.
So yeah, it's just stuff like that. It just blows my mind. Again, like we've ranted a lot about the Celtics. Like if you haven't noticed, like that's just how it is. But they need to pick it up. I don't know how the game
14 and 13
officially started. Yeah,
that's all I have to see.
I'll end it on this. It's rough when your expectations had already gone down this year in Boston, not only in Boston but around the league, and you're still underachieving.
Exactly.
That's rough. That's really rough, and I hate to see that.
I agree with you.
Right. So moving on, real quick. We don't really have any Patriots today. I'm kind of just pushing them to the side until like it's actually like really time to talk about draft and free agency and whatnot. But there was a trade I've been wanting to talk about that has happened.
Oh,
it had already happened, and I wanted to have a guest to talk about it with them. I didn't want to just do it on my own. Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff, and what was it? 2 firsts and a third.
Yep.
What do you think? I want to know what you think. I don't know if we talked about this, but tell me what you think.
As an NFL enthusiast or as a Pats fan, or both?
Both.
All right.
Try to combine them.
Combine them. Okay. Matt Stafford. I really loved Matt Stafford's game. He's got an arm. He has good IQ. I think he's one of like those NFL quarterbacks that's slept on. Like there's certain people who really thought Kirk Cousins, when he got that payday, how do you like see players like Kirk Cousins-esque type of players be more valued than Matt Stafford? Matt Stafford has a very good like resume, okay? As well as I do. Those receivers, those games he has, he's really good. I think he's really undervalued as a quarterback in the league. And I like the trade. I really love the trade. And I just feel bad for Goff, okay? Goff got paid huge, but I'm curious, why did Detroit take that big contract?
I think, I know a lot of people will say otherwise, but I think the 2 first, one was for Stafford, and the other was to take that contract of Goff's. He's still young, so Detroit, they can do what they want with that. Plus, he was traded. So if you ever want to cut him in like a couple years, I think like it's I don't know what the rules are, but I'm pretty sure once someone gets traded like that, then they're on a multi-year deal, you're not really strapped to that
like
money.
The clause change.
Right, as much as you would be if you were the one that had given them that contract. But it's still, it's still early on. I'd say in a couple years, they can see what happens. I don't know if they draft a quarterback or they try to build around him. I don't know what they're going to try to do. It's very interesting direction.
Big question, too, is that injury that was lingering them, right, in the playoffs. I wonder if that injury, because they really didn't talk about it, if maybe that was a portion of the reason why. It was like hidden under the rug. Maybe that was like a portion of the trade. Maybe that thumb injury, that hand injury was really detrimental to why they played awful in the playoffs. Like, obviously got surgery after, he's going to have it. But The only thing I see weird is that how Sean McVay, with that bootleg offense, with, you know, our boy Tyler Higbee, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp with a knee injury, interestingly enough, and now our big star Cam Akers. You know, like how's he gonna run with Matt Stafford that has no wheels when Goff could throw, but Goff could move. I don't know if Stafford can move like that, and I don't know if they changes the bootleg offense.
I don't see too much of a difference between the way Goff and Stafford run. You know, that neither of them run. They both have
Stafford's
bricks
older.
for feet. He is older, but he's always been a nice, like, he can move
In the pocket,
and
yeah.
and you don't want him, like, he can run for the first down if he really
Yeah.
needs to. I know, you know, maybe like you say,
Of
he's getting older, so we'll see. But this is probably the best team that he's had or been on since he entered the league. It's not the best. It's not the best players he's played around because he had Calvin Johnson. So that's one of the, if not the best, one of the best receivers of this generation. So, that's a different scenario. But overall, defense, coach, running back, and receiver depth, I'd say this is the best team he's had. Offensive line, everything. So if I'm him,
good.
Yeah, if I'm him, you're going from Detroit.
I'm happy for him.
Right, you're going from Detroit to LA, hype. You're going from a worse team to a better team, hype. Non-playoff team to a playoff team, hype. All this, like, you're doing great right now if you're Matthew Stafford. Warmer weather, whatever. Maybe he stays healthier.
Maybe
with the warmer weather. But there was also another thing that came out. He didn't want to come here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah,
that's why I asked.
Yeah. So what do you think of that? Because I have something to say, and I think that'll probably be the last thing. I want to end on that note and keep that like in everyone's minds. But go ahead.
I'll let you get to that. But one thing is, like, what did Bill do behind the scenes? What did our team do not to get him? Okay, like, why? I would have loved to see him on this team. He has a good IQ. I can see him fit the Belichick scheme, but I don't know. So go ahead with your thought. So
this is an answer to your question, and I'll do it in a little softer way first, without getting right into it. So you're the Patriots, and you see what he just went for. Now, I made the claim that the second first-round pick was basically to take Goff's contract. You don't have to deal with that if you're Detroit dealing with the Patriots. So if you're Bill Belichick, do you give up a first and a third-round pick for Stafford?
Maybe.
Okay. I heard that they didn't want to give up more than a second, which, I don't like to hear that. I don't know. It could have worked out. But this is the main reason. This is the main reason. Everyone that's listening, everyone that's watching, and you yourself, imagine you're Matthew Stafford. I kind of just did that a little bit, going from Detroit to LA, like you're, cold weather to good team to bad, or bad team to good team. Imagine you're Matthew Stafford. You get drafted in, 2008, 2009, whatever it was, by a team that just went 0-16. One of the most embarrassing franchises in the NFL because you have one of the best running backs ever, Barry Sanders. I know, trust me, this is going somewhere. Barry Sanders retires early because couldn't deal with them anymore. Calvin Johnson, you have him as your receiver. He breaks records with you as the quarterback.
Exactly.
And he retires early. Congratulations, Calvin Johnson, on the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
He retires early because he can't take it anymore. You've had coach after coach. There's one coach that's doing well. He gets fired. Jim Caldwell or something gets fired. You have coach after coach after coach. You have injuries, all these issues with the team. They can't seem to figure it out. And you're living in Detroit on top of it. Sorry, Detroit, but, like, come on. You're living in Detroit this whole time.
It's like another Pistons.
Right. Now, you have Matt Patricia come in as your coach. Defensive-minded coach, whatever decision. That means. Yeah, that's one thing I'll never understand with some of these hires of coaches. You have a quarterback with so much potential, and you bring in a defensive coach to work on the defense instead of the offense.
They don't have a defense to begin with.
Right. So you bring in this guy. He's there for what, 3? It was 3 years or 2.5? He got
2.5.
And then as soon as the season ends, where does he go?
Welcome back.
Here.
Welcome back.
Back to New England. Now, if you're Matthew Stafford, And you just went, what? It was like 3-13.
Of course you don't come here. That's your
Are
point.
you trying to come here?
No way.
You're trying to follow
way.
that guy here.
No way.
No. Why would you ever want to follow that guy here? Never. I wouldn't. Are you kidding me? I'd look at them and be like, if you had any like chance of trading for me, you just threw it out the window. You threw it in the trash by bringing this guy back in to coach
like
on
it was
your
done
team.
Purposely. It's like flipping the
Right.
bird.
And on top of it, he's helping the offense. He's coaching the offense. He's not the defensive coordinator. He's on the offensive side of the ball from what I've heard so far. What is going on? Like, if you're Bill Belichick, I don't know if he like took that into account or he just didn't care or whatever, but what? How do you just imagine taking your, and again, this isn't confirmed. Like, Stafford hasn't said it. No one said it, that this is the reasoning, but that it just seems like it is. How do you take yourself out of the conversation for trading up for a player like that because you just brought one of your guys ran back home to dad? Like, oh no, prodigal son. Like, what?
They messed up.
Yeah, I mean,
says he does that. Like, they really messed up.
So this is all like irrelevant if they go trade for a guy like Deshaun Watson or maybe you bring Garoppolo back and he does well or whatever. I don't think they're going to get Deshaun Watson.
I don't think they're leaving at Jimmy G.
Oh. I think that's the most likely one.
Well,
because of the contract that you could give him if he gets cut. But you cannot. I don't know if you were going to get him anyways, but you cannot take yourself out of the conversation for a quarterback like Matthew Stafford like that.
And I guess you want to move the train on to Deshaun Watson real quick?
If you want, go ahead. Say whatever you want.
So, recent news again, Deshaun Watson going back and forth with the franchise. Like a month ago, he declared that he's donezo.
Yeah, J.J. Watt gets cut.
So, a big move. And then we see the GM going back and forth. Deshaun saying, I'm done. GM saying, nah, he's here.
Yeah,
don't worry about
him.
it.
Yeah.
And then you have Wolf Fuller with the PED situation. Deshaun's done with that franchise. He's done.
I think it's going to take...
Even if he stays, I think he himself, in and out, he's done with that franchise. You lost one of the best defenders in, like, NFL history. Number 99, okay? You lost them, okay? And I think he's done with the team. They're not giving him anything. You brought an old man, David Johnson, onto that team, okay? He played okay. But, like, after all that, like, him being a really good, like, QB field general, like, good morale, I think it's time for him to, like, give himself a shot. He deserves it. I really keep him up there with the top 3 best, like, talented QBs in the league right now. And then I saw again today the Broncos GM said, we're going after him right now.
Yeah, I saw that. They said if he's available.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think it's going to take, and I hate when it comes to this, but it's going to, especially in the NFL, these guys have to get traded by a certain date.
Yep.
And usually it's put in their contracts, or it always seems like it's in March. Mm-hmm. So if they trade him before a certain date, they can save some money and all that. And unfortunately, I think it's going to come down to I'm going to sit situation. If you don't trade me, I'm sitting. I'm going to hold out. I'm not going to play. And then you never like to see that because then all like that hate comes because everyone's on Deshaun Watson's side right now. Like
he's an amazing player.
Yeah, well, not even just for that. Like just seeing what he's going through. Yeah, I think the entire NFL fan base, whatever, analysts, fans, everyone that knows what they're talking about understands where he's coming from.
I don't know if you saw the video. Sorry to cut you off, but it was like a small clip from their last game, from the Texans' last game before playoffs started. Mm-hmm. And it's there walking back to the locker room. Deshaun has his helmet on or off, and JJ is walking right next to him. He goes, hey, man, sorry for this season. You deserve better.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what I'm saying. He deserves a lot better, and I think, like you said, everyone's on his side right now.
Right. So I actually do have one more thing I want to talk about. But, yeah, I get it. I mean, I'd love to have him on this team, Deshaun Watson. But it's just...
It's too much money. You need to bring A-Rob.
After seeing what Stafford just went for, I don't know. I'm genuinely, like, very, very interested to see what he ends up going for. He's going to get traded. I just want to see what it's going to go, what it's going to be for, what it's going to take, what he's going to go for, because that at this point, that's going to be a haul. But I know I said the whole Stafford little rant there was going to be the last thing. I actually do have one more thing to say. And not to get political. I don't always love doing that, but it like kind of dawned on me yesterday morning, and I had said it to my dad, and he was like, you should say that on the podcast. The whole thing, so Trump gets acquitted for the insurrection, the attack on the Capitol, and it's just kind of like a vicious cycle. I know he hasn't been in the news, and it's really the only time he comes up, but I want to just mention Colin Kaepernick real quick, because I think it's really I think it's really unfortunate.
It's time for
still. So I don't know. I can't say it might be too late because he's just been out of the league so long. It's not his fault.
No, it's not.
But it just blows my mind that because the people that had that attack, attacked the Capitol that day, using the flag as a weapon on police officers and whatnot. I know, without even talking to them, without having a conversation, without getting to know the person whatsoever, whatever you want to say. Just looking at them, I can tell that these are the same. Those are the typical people that were all uppity about Kaepernick kneeling during the national anthem, disrespecting the flag, and all that whatnot. When the closest flag to this guy kneeling in the stadium was hundreds of feet up, blowing in the wind. But these same people are using the flag to just beat the hell out of police officers and whatnot, and just damage property. That's respecting the flag, though. Kneeling, nowhere near the flag, kneeling, out of, basically necessity at this point to get
Kaepernick was doing his right.
Yeah.
He was doing the freedom of speech. You don't have to do it, right?
But you know what I'm saying, though? These are the same people. Like the same people criticizing him about this disrespecting the flag were actually disrespecting the flag when you use it as a weapon. That's ridiculous.
It's a vicious circle.
It just dawned on me, I know I don't want to, beat the dead horse, like keep going at it, but you hate to see it. The guy doesn't have a job because of people like that, and it's the same people that.
And he went through all that training stuff, the invitee list and etc.
I hate to see that. I hate to bring that stuff like that up, but it needs to be done. Someone needs to say it. Someone needs to say it, because
maybe Bill will give him a shot.
I don't know. Bill doesn't seem like
get involved.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like it. But one more thing, actually. I keep saying one more thing. Hoops for Hayastan family. Shout out. I'm sure you've noticed by now if you're watching. Gotta love this t-shirt. Long sleeve. Love this long sleeve. $45 if anyone's interested. Goes to a great cause in Artsakh. Vegan stretch got in. Matt, shout out to the Hoops for Hayastan family. You guys are doing a great thing. You're doing amazing things. Boys. And I love this shirt. And if you haven't ordered it already, I highly recommend it. It's a fresh shirt. And again, like I said, it goes to a great cause. But anyways, I think we've gone on long enough. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and I'll see you next time.